All right, guys, we are live. This is John Statsational Alicia for the Sharp app. The app itself is live, which we are super excited about. So we've got a whole bunch of new users coming onto the app and coming into sharpbets.app with us today. I've got one of our coaches, the original, Anthony P. from sharpbets.app, formerly of the Sportsbet Army. Anthony is going to be giving us a little bit of a lesson on something he calls the menu. We're calling it the Sharp Report menu over at sharpbets.app. So I just want to bring Anthony in and say thanks for coming, man.
We're overdue, John, of doing something together. So it's a pleasure.
It is, man. It's always good seeing you.
Here.
So
how you been? How you been?
Yeah, no, I've been great, man.
You've been busy? Like you've been busy?
a little busy with this app, a little bit busy. As you can see over on social media and inside the app, I've been doing a lot of the videos that we've got on there. We've got a ton of guys coming in who are going to be doing a whole bunch of content. We've got some that we can't announce just yet, but some big names coming into the app. So we're excited about that. But I want to show people this menu that you have that you put together. We've been doing it for it's been a few months, quite a few months now. I don't even know
it's been a while. It's been a while, and we're just looking at what would be the best format to take all this information, that I'm getting on a daily basis, and doing it a little bit more structured, so that people could follow the different categories that are within the menu. And again, we're working on the lineup, right? So as we keep on developing the website, the format is going to be a lot sexier than just the format that we're using now. So more changes to come. People are excited about it. But no, the menu, a ton of categories. We're going to look at them, John, really quickly.
Well, let me bring it up.
Yeah, and this is being used also for DFS, right? So I don't want to really get into that, but there's a lot of our members, even our coaches, that are using it because it complements with another product that we have, which is the Rush, that we could do something, about a quick video on the Rush, maybe in the near future. But yeah, we could take a deep dive or a soft dive, let's say, into the category so that people could get a little bit more used to how to read this and use it for any purposes that they have.
Yeah, I mean, let's just we'll work in order. Let's go from the top. We'll go across, and you can see there's a ton of info. I reference this all the time. I've been giving out a lot of the free plays over on our Twitter, basically all of our social media. If you just look for the Sharp app on TikTok and Instagram, Twitter, of course, I've been giving out a lot of these free plays, and I reference this particular menu that you've put together quite often because I think it's just priceless because, and as we'll get into, you get to see information about where the sharp money is, where the square money is, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So let's just pick it up right off the top. You've got tier 1 picks. How would a new user read that?
Well, the tier 1 picks are my personal picks, right? We've been doing this for a long time, John. So we're experienced individuals in this industry, and not only do we do it for fun, but we also sweat a little bit of our hard-earned money into these picks, which keeps us really accountable, also, right, and honest and transparent through this. So the tier 1 picks are the ones that are actually being tracked. These are the ones that I highly recommend, and all-time record, we're looking at about 54% winning rates with a return of about 152 units since I joined the team back into the early days of Slack and DFS Army sports betting channel, right? So if anybody just feels like following my expert picks, that have a proven record, and for VIPs that have been with us for a while, they just follow those, right? Or some other people could pick and choose from other categories. But those are my personal recommendations that are handicapped throughout the day before they're being posted there.
Okay, so that's fairly simple. So that's going to be for VIP members. Obviously, they're going to get your picks here. They're also getting them over in the Discord. So these are the same picks that you're posting in our Discord Slack for the VIP members. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Cool. And like you said, you've honestly been, you've been on fire of late, but just track history over time since I've been a part of the Sportsbet Army, which will be 2 years in October. It's been very impressive. So I've always lived in my own little bubble and done my own handicapping and been fairly successful at it. and to meet someone else, excuse me, who I could use their information as well to just help my handicapping has been tremendous. So you are probably the best handicapper we have over in sharp bets. So I would highly suggest, if you look at nothing else on this menu, checking out Anthony's plays. But let's kind of move along and look. What's the biggest bets at the book? What does that mean?
So this is all information. So I like the way that we call it the bettor's edge, because there's so many products that are out there identifying sharp plays and identifying reverse line movement plays and bet percentages and total cash percentages and stuff like that. And a lot of people that I have conversations with around this, they're like, okay, well, I'm looking at so and so website, and it doesn't seem to be any sharp action based on the numbers they're showing, right? So just to take a step back and talk about the next categories in the menu is, throughout the years, I've developed relationships with a couple of sports books, and I have personal friends that work at one of a pretty sharp book website. And the information that I use to fill the menu is information that comes directly from that sports book, right? So if there is a discrepancy between website X and my information, I cannot vouch for any information that is outside of what I'm personally getting. And I don't know where that information is coming from, John. Is it an average of many different websites? Is it, we don't know, right? We don't know that information. So the same way that I share a lot of some very confidential information to you guys through screenshots that I get through my contact, unfortunately, we can't do that in the public because we don't want to burn our contacts. No. That information, sometimes you ask me, where's the money in golf? Where's the money in football? Where's the money in MMA, right? Kev is really strong on that. And it gives us, and to be transparent, I share that information with you guys. And that information is just taken throughout the updates that I get in the day, and boom, it goes into the menu. So it's information that comes straight from a solid source. When we're looking back to your initial question, which was the biggest bets at the book, these are some of the biggest bets that they took during the day. And as I get my updates, I plug them in, right? And as I shared with you guys, some of these big bets could be between 5,000 and sometimes we see 30, 35, right? And these sharp books love to take big bets from square money. And what we see in this section, as I mentioned it many times, it is big bets that come from squares, so public money. And they love that money, because if you take a look at how these bets have been doing in the last, I would say July 25th, they lost over $140,000. So when we're plugging those plays in there, it's like, just fade them. Yeah. Just fade them. You know what I mean? I'm still working to see if I could get the information filtered through the sharp guys, but it's a more difficult task than it is than just sorting the data from the squares. So this is what that section is representing right now.
All right. Yeah, no, and I can validate that the information is true, because I've had, I know quite a few large bettors and some sharp bettors, and it was interesting that our numbers one night sort of lined up because they were actually playing at a book that you're familiar with. So a lot of the information, I knew guys who were hammering certain sides of MMA, and sure enough, you were feeding me the same information on the other side. So the information is pretty good. The best dog plays, where are you getting that? Where's that coming from?
The same way that you handicapped the Cubs yesterday as your biggest dog. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're 5-0 now, right? Posting those plays.
It's on a 5. It's been an unbelievable run, and I'll tell you, like I said, I'm using the menu in coordination with my own handicapping techniques, and it's just become it's become really good.
Yeah. So the same thing that you're doing when I'm taking the overall information, a little bit of handicapping, then again we're looking at what the model, our base model is projecting for the specific games, and if I see some value Those are the best dog plays that I would play. I'm not a big fan of playing big dogs. However, there is a demand from our VIPs that love to do parlays, right? So when you're starting to pick and choose, if you've got a VIP who's got a decent amount of knowledge and is on Baltimore also, he's probably gonna he has the opportunity to saying, okay, well, based on Anthony or based on John, the Cubs yesterday, I could maybe parlay Baltimore with a couple of favorites, which we're going to talk when we get into the squares top section, right? So those are the best dog plays for us right now.
Now, this is I think we're coming up to really, for me, the most exciting part of the menu here, some of these next few categories. So touch on the sharp money. I think hopefully it's self-explanatory, but you can explain it a little bit better to us. Sharp money, what is it? Where's it coming from?
Yeah, so when we're talking about sharp money, these are players at the book that have been identified as sharp players, right? So they're a complete opposite of the public money. These are the guys that are going to usually move the lines, right? These are the guys that the book is scared of when these guys start hitting the bets. These are also the lines that when I'll post them, you will see them skyrocket during the day, or I've already moved overnight and are going to continue to move. So these are positions where we have people that have been identified from the sports book as sharp bettors with a tremendous amount of respect. Usually what happens at the sports book is, there's the market makers and then there's the retail sports book. The market makers are going to be the ones that are going to usually post the lines really early overnight, and they're going to cap the limits to let's say 500 to 1,000, 2,000, depending on the book, and then they just wait for these guys to take their positions, right, and just rearrange the line. And by the time that it's ready for the market, not for the market, but for the retail books to open up their lines, then you'll see the lines that have been adjusted accordingly to the sharp money coming in. So when we're talking about sharp money, it's players that are highly respected from the sports book, and those are the plays that we're going to plug into this section right here.
Yeah, it's interesting. We could do a whole show on that, but a lot of the sports books really are taking, back in the day, the old days, you would have a guy running a sports book and they would post their own number on a game. So you'd have a variety of different lines at sports, but it could vary greatly because maybe they had a position that they wanted to take before corporations were running all these sports books and whatnot. Back in the day of the movie Casino with Lefty, where there's a guy he's sharp and he's just posting his own numbers. Now, a lot of these books are relying on their sharp bettors, where, like you said, they're limiting them on early bets so that they can get a feel if they're way off the market or not before they start opening up those lines to the public. And then a lot of the other sports books will pick up on some of these sharp offshore sports books and then post their lines in accordance with that, and then move it, of course, with which way the money's coming in their specific book.
Yeah, and I know you don't have it up right now, but when we're looking at WNBA, there's not a ton of sharp interest that's there, and the limits are pretty much capped versus the other sports. But if you like WNBA and you wanted to know what the sharps were on yesterday, just as an example, sharps were on Dallas that are on plus 6. That's where they took their position. And in terms of the score positions, they were all over Chicago, right, at minus 6.5. Dallas won the game straight up, right? Does it always work that way, John? We know, man. This, again, you're not going to freaking become a millionaire following this, right? But it really, really helps you make your own selections, right? Or just ask questions and try and understand it, right? So there's many, 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 many examples we could use, in terms of scoring.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love it. I call it the Holy Trinity, and that's when we include this next section in. So I like when I see the sharp money on one side, when I see the square money on another side, and then this middle section here that you have, the next section is what the sports books need. When those all line up, I love those plays. I've been giving those out as free plays when they do pop up. They don't happen all the time, but when they do, I think they're really strong. So what's this middle section on what the sports book needs?
John, have you ever felt that you wanted to be on the other side? We love smashing the books, right? But have you ever felt being on the other side and be the bookie or be the book, right? Or in general, people have always been intrigued to find out who is the sports book cheering for, where are the biggest liabilities. And talking to my friends in the industry that are on the sportsbook side, they're always going to send me these little nuggets, and they're going to say, well, you know what? If so and so wins, we're going to be throwing a huge party because there's about a million two, on the other side. So we're going to be cheering for them. So it's a section that has shown to be profitable on the long run. It is the book has been taking a massive hit in terms of MLB in the last couple of weeks because the squares have been just hitting it strong. And we've seen that pattern now where we've got some sharp money also coming on the side of huge favorites because the books are not properly pricing these favorites. So it's being interesting what's going on right now. But going back to your question is you want to be on the side of the sports book. You want to see the biggest plays that the sports book is going to be cheering for because there's a shit ton of liability on the other side. This is going to be the section where you're going to be finding these plays.
Yeah, and when it lines up, when I've said all three of these line up, now the sharp money tends to be bigger size bets on average than the retail regular client. So when you got sharp money on one side of the game, and then you've got square money on the opposite side of the game, but the book needs the side that the sharps are on, that's telling you that you're getting an overwhelming amount of bets coming in on that square side. That's why I really love when all three of those line up.
I agree. And yesterday, Colorado was one first game with the Yankees, and KC, which surprised many. Yesterday, there was huge liability on the other side. And let's just say, I think I wrote it in my daily review of the menu because that's something that we do on a daily basis. Let's just say that the book is probably still partying at this time with the amount of money they made last night.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there's no doubt about that. And let's jump over now to square positions, the next category, and that's really the rounds out what we're looking at here on the menu.
Square equal public interest, right? And again, this was a section that was suggested that I would add, which shows where the public interest is, because in this industry there is a say, let's say, fade the public, right? Whatever the public is doing, just fade the public. So I'm glad that you've touched into the different sections and saying, okay, if I want to make my own plays, how do I read? How do I understand this? And how do I come up with a recommended play by leveraging the three sections? We are putting in this section on a daily basis where the book, as shown through the data that I'm getting, that the interest coming in some of the games is highly or only driven by public interest, which is going to move the line, right? If the amount is really overwhelming, it's going to move the line. But in this section, you're going to find exactly what the public is, let's say, cheering for on that day, or where their interest and their exposure is. And this is another section where in DFS people are going to use, if they want to fade where the big public is. Usually when you're looking at DFS, you'll see that most of the ownership is going to be coming from these high favorite teams, right, that are interested. So many different ways to leverage. The public took a hit yesterday, and as I mentioned in my review, they've been hot for the last 14 days, 10 days, sorry, almost returning 15 units. And yesterday alone, they went 2-11 and wiped out most of the profit that they've won in the last 10 days, right? So that's what we're going to find in that section. People that love to fade the public took a beating in the last 10 days, but in one single day probably made all that money back. Because if you're looking at the teams that didn't come in, if you would have been taking the dogs on the other side, it would have been a very good night for them.
Yeah, very profitable. When you look at this, and we're looking, we're in the baseball season. Obviously, as NFL ramps up, we're going to be getting more spread type bets, NBA as well. And then when you get hockey, we'll have a lot more money line stuff. But when you look at these money lines, I look at this on a daily basis. It is rare. I mean, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's over 90% of the time. Everything on that square position they're minus favorites. They're always a favorite. It's very rare that the public is coming in on an underdog. So it just gives you some insight into how you need to be handicapping as well, where when you look at these money line sports, I think too often the recreational sports bettor just looks at who they think is going to win the game. They don't take into account the actual price and what you're paying in order for that team to win. Sure, that team might be a better team, but are they going to win often enough to cover that line that's being put out there? So often those lines are skewed a little bit towards the favorite because these books know that they're getting more money on these favorite bets.
Yeah, and the public money is going to come in late, right? You're not going to be seeing a lot of public money pouring on a game at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's not going to happen, right? So as we wake up early and we start looking at these games and we start finding our positions, we're taking a position really early, and then we go on with our day and we just look at different opportunities. The public side, their behaviors and picking bets are completely different, and the majority is going to be. Let's say you and I are squares. We're going to be at the bar at 6 o'clock. We're going to start having a couple of beers, and we're 4 or 5 beers in, and it's 5:30, 6:30, 6:45 because we love to drink beer. And it's like, all right, let's go put some money on Chicago, right?
It's what game is on TV? That's the first question, and then you make the bet, right?
But the point I'm trying to make over here is whatever game is on TV, whatever bet you're going to be making at 6:30 is going to be the worst freaking line that you're going to have available for the whole day, right? So. You're going to see many times where someone's going to miss the against the spread by half a point or a full point or a total by a point or two, where you're going to see the sharp guys actually winning that bet because they came in at the wrong time, at the right time versus the wrong time. So that's how they took a beating yesterday in the WNBA, right? They went 0-5. So that was a tough night for me.
I've got we've got also in inside the app something called the Sharp Academy, and I've got a whole bunch of videos in there from basic stuff all the way to some more advanced techniques on how to build your own models, all on sports betting. And in one of the videos, I did talk about, even if you're not building a model, right? With the models, it's a little bit easier once you've built them, where you kind of run the numbers for tonight's games or tomorrow's games or next week in the NFL. Yeah. A lot, like you said, the average square bettor doesn't do that. They're waiting until the last minute. I'd advise people, even if you haven't built a model, start to look at tomorrow's games tonight in MLB. Put your own lines on those games, and then go ahead and look and see if that coincides. Because I think often we get swayed. We don't realize it, but it's subconscious. We'll look at the lines, and that'll sway our decision making, which is why I think people lean towards the favorites a whole lot more. I mean, in your mind, get an idea where there might be a number they might put a number up on a team as a favorite, but in your mind they think they should be a dog. But if you looked at that after the fact, before you did your own handicapping, you might be swayed into believing that favorite should be the favorite.
Agree.
So I think we covered it. I wanted to get. I know a lot of new people there's going to be new eyeballs here inside the app. So I just wanted to give everyone either a refresher or introduce them to the Sharp menu. The Sharp report. We're super excited about the app, and this is one of my favorite tools that we have of the many that we're going to be offering, and you put this together for us, which I think is priceless. And like you said, the information that you're getting at other places, I have no idea. I don't think that information is valid more often than not, because who knows where it's coming from. But I can definitely attest this is good info.
Yeah, we could debate it, right?
Yeah,
it's debatable. We don't know the source, and we're honest individuals. We're not going to start trashing what's out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're paying under $10 to get some information that is so valuable, I don't know. We can make arguments.
They say we can only talk about what we have, and you specifically. This is your baby. So
it is. And until we get that, until I get to keep that source, we're going to keep on building this, and we're going to keep on leveraging the most that we can. And yeah, I just if you guys have any questions, you know where to find me. Highly accessible, and I'll be more than glad to help you guys.
So I appreciate it, man. So sharpbets.app, if you want to sign up, become a VIP member. Hopefully you guys are watching this over in the app. We also have a YouTube channel that you can subscribe to. The Discord chat is free, so I welcome everyone to come in there. Like Anthony said, if you've got more questions on this, inevitably some of you will, head on over into the Discord chat. You can ask questions freely. Anthony will answer. I can answer. One of the guys will get back to you. And really any questions or and you want to just talk with all the guys, we've got, like 1,000 people in this Discord who all want to talk about sports and sports betting. So come on in, have fun. And Anthony, I really appreciate it, man. I love talking to you, and we'll do a whole lot more of this.
Same here, buddy.
All right, guys. We'll see you soon. Thanks.